Yeah, that is what I've been telling you. We will look into the copy column as well as character mapping today. Okay. So to start with, you would need a source assistant, right? In order to get an OLDB source, probably any table from AdventureWorks and all. So I choose one. Here it is. So let's say if I want to go for a table called person as person, uh, imagine I would take a business entity ID and last name and first name and email promotion. A copy column is something that will make a column copy of exact same thing. It's not a derived column where you can write expression and all. It is a plain copy. Okay, so you cannot write any kind of expression or anything like that. It just would get you one more column, say copy of column, or you could rename it to something else. Okay, so it's just that simple thing. So no extra functionality in there. You would see a rare use of it, but it's in there definitely. Compared to a derived column, if you take up a derived column and want to do the same thing, derived column may take more time than compared to a copy column because copy column uses a different algorithm to generate it, and it's quite simple in that fashion. Okay. Um, do you have any question at this point on this copy column?
Yeah, where will you use this one?
Okay, let me show you what is the user. As I was telling you, so copy column will make a copy of the exact same column.
Yeah.
Okay, when I choose this column, it will make one more copy. Okay, if you see here, we are getting one more copy called copy of last name, right? So if I enable a data viewer here and go run this package, you should see last name as last copy of last name too. All right, that is what we were expecting. That's simple. Now it makes sense?
Yeah, I got it, but like where exactly we will use this?
Oh, where exactly would you use it? Probably if you ever have to duplicate a column, later somewhere you would want okay. Imagine there is a marks table and your principal said that everybody would get 10 marks additionally. And 10 marks additional due to a questionnaire in the question exam, and 5 marks extra for behavior. So by default, you messed up and added 15 marks for everybody. So you would have a standby column before what had happened, right? If you make a copy column and all. Originally, these are the information. You'll make a copy column, have it here, and then do the changes over here.
Okay, got it.
So originally your marks are this. After adding 15 marks, you'll get this. But are you supposed to add 15 marks or not? That's again a different question. Otherwise,
yeah, got it.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So stop that. So let's take some different. So now we'll talk about character mapping. Okay, character mapping is also a simple one. Very simple to be frank. Okay. Here, what you can do is you can convert lowercase letters into an uppercase, or you can use a string functions and all those things out of it. So I'll show you an example of it too. So here I'm taking first name, last name, and email promotion. Same exact 4 columns. In here, what I'm gonna do is, where is this copy column? No, the character mapping. So the character mapping, whenever you pass something in here, it will show all the columns. So let's say if I choose a last name as a column as an input, I can add it as a new column or replace the existing one. I'll say new column so that we can have a copy of last name. here in the operations, you have all these things. You can convert into lowercase, uppercase, reversal of it, and you want to convert it into Chinese, you can convert it into Chinese too. So let's do an one in uppercase, okay, and I also want to do the same thing, last name again, and one in it's simple for Chinese. Okay, if I do that and use a sort transformation, just to show you the data. Let's execute it. You could see the last name converted into Chinese in one column, that is copy of column 2, copy 2 of last name. Okay, and Chinese language is also pretty much same as the English. You don't see any difference. I don't know what exactly happened. But this one is converted into all cap locks, right? Where you can see it in an uppercase environment.
Yep.
Right? So, yeah, these pretty much can be used along the lines of copy column and as well as character mapping. I don't see much difference in between them, but yeah, they are there. You have to know it. That's the functionality. Okay, let's disable this one. So now we are talking about data management. Export column and import column. Before I have to talk about import column, that's only when I can get to export column, right? So data mining and all the DQS cleansing, we can talk about it later. So let's talk about import column. Okay. So for the import column to happen, what exactly would you need is two things. One is, let's say if you have a bunch of images, so the simplest example is, you know that we whenever you take an insurance from an insurance for your car and or something like that, they would send you files, right, where you would scan, sign it and send it back as a form, right? So what happens is when you try to send them back a form, you would usually send it in a PDF format. So where they would store this PDF file in a folder with your name and something like that, right? So if they ever want to push that information back into a database or something like that, how would they be able to do it? And how would they be able to relate it back to the path or something like that? That is what the example is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'll show you an example. So in here on the Google, what I did was I searched for Fox. I want to save this image. Okay. So okay. So in here I'm using an example of images. It does be same with what do you call PDFs or any files. So I'm naming this one as Fox. Okay, I'll say this image save as Fox 2. Fox 3. So those are the 3 foxes I downloaded. Okay. So I will go back to the folder format. So here are the folders. Now one more thing what I'm going to do is I will create a text file or CSV file. Okay. So in this text file, what I would like to have is the path of where exactly those images are. So that's fox.jpeg. Okay, I'm going to save this. That's it. Close. Okay. So for that, I'll use an import column. Okay. So for the import column, I have to have a source. It's going to be a flat file collection manager to pick up that flat file or a CSV file, which is going to be here, right? Browse. Inside the images, I have this flat file. Okay. Where I have a column called path and all the image folder information. I'll submit that to an import column. Path is my input column. Image. Okay, the image itself, DT image. Okay, I have to do one more thing. What is the path of it? Path column ID is 37. The lineage ID is 37. So I have to mention that lineage ID here in the source field. Um, 37. Map to column 37. Okay, still something. Line separation code. What exactly am I missing here? Okay. File data column ID. File data column ID is going to be that one. The lineage ID map to column 37. Lineage ID 44.
Lineage ID 37.
So here it is. So first you put the 44 and say okay. That's gone. Okay. So let's write it back to an adventure work database. So this is going to be an OLDB destination. Okay. So connect to destination. Okay, you have this connection. I'll say new. I'll name this as some random table. You can say whatever you want. I'll say the image table. Okay. I'll save it up here. The table is. I'll go check the mapping. Mapping is fine. Okay. That's it. If I go run this particular package, what should happen is it has to go to the flat file, see what exactly the file names are, and then copy, convert them into images and push it into database. For some reason, there is a problem. The data conversion for the column path return the status. Okay. on data row. Okay, so there is a column mismatch or size mismatch. Okay, just a second. So if you open it up, so in here, when we say our paths, we gave it 50 characters. It would not be fine, so I would say 500. Okay, and in here, advanced editor, input pass length. I cannot mention it. Okay, I have to do one more thing here. I'll say new. I'll also make this as 500. Okay, let's see if it works now. Okay, let me do one more thing. Stop it. Delete it. Data flow. Source is a flat file. I'll say new because I don't want the connection manager to get affected, right? So this one is this one. Columns. In the advanced properties of this columns, I'll say this is a 500 column. So that will, even 500 is less, right? Let's do more than that. So 3,000 columns. Then say okay. Okay. Now if I go back on the import column, why is this one having all the columns? Which file did I choose? Okay, that is right. Columns, that is right. Okay, perfect. So 3,000 length. Okay. So I have to define an output column, add column, and this is an image column. Okay. And inside in here, I would say this one has lineage ID as 49. So I'll go replace this with 49. File data column ID 49. Okay. So for this one, map to column ID is this one, sorry, 43. So this is going to be 43. Okay. So, and then I should say I have to write it to an OLDB destination. Come on. Let's see if it works this time. I have this connection set up, but yeah, as well as the tables too, right? So here is my image table. Let me create a one more table. In fact, so let's say this has an image 3 table. So it has 3,000. Let's see, this one will work, hopefully. Okay, it worked. So that all the 3 rows got moved from here to here. So let's go back onto the database. run a simple query to find out what exactly is stored in there, right? So I'll refresh this database, go back onto the tables level, see where is my table. Here is my image table. So if I right click and do a select top 1000, our image would get converted into a var binary format. You could see it up here. So you can identify each and every image because you have the path and the image. So anybody who would want to go for the path, they know where exactly is the image and they can convert it back if they want to. Now you don't have to really have a copy of the image saved in your folder, right? So let's say if I go back and in this folder, if I go back and say if I want to delete all three of those images, right click and delete it. All right, and I have here images and their path. I want to restore them back. I could use an option called export columns. So which would be one of the examples. Let's rename this as import column. Right. So another data flow task, I would say this as an export column, where I would have an OLEDB source, right? Source instance. I'll say OLEDB source in the Adventure Works, where I have my table, which is going to be our image3 table. I have the path as well as image. That's good. Now I have to submit that to an export column. Here it is. If I submit that to an export column, in the export column to be extracted is the image, path where it is in the paths column. Okay, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Say okay, run the package. Okay, I'll bring up the folder between them. Okay. You see the files get regenerated and all. Okay, so that is how it would usually work. Okay, it knows where exactly to place it because of the path it had in the database. Yeah, it has a binary format of the file exactly in the database, so it wrote the files back. So that's how the export column would work and import column would work. Okay. Any questions here?
No, clear.
Okay, just a second. So we'll talk about few more columns, few more things. Okay. We'll talk about. We spoke about this one and this one. Okay. We'll complete all the easy ones first, and we'll come back onto the hard one. So let's say if I want to teach you pivot. Okay. So for the pivot transformation, what exactly is a pivot? So you have to understand. Pivot is nothing but a conversion of a data from a rows to columns format. Okay. So let's say you have a few rows of information that could be, let's say you have a sales information based on the years and the order quantity for the respective products. Same product, same quantity, different quantity, different year. Okay, I'll take my SQL to explain that particular example. So I'll go back here. Yeah, I can just replace this one. So imagine if I execute this particular thing, you could see that we have almost all 610 columns, which has different products. Okay, so if we take the cap as a product, on the 2011, 12, 13, and 14, these were the sales, right? So if you say bike wash as a dissolver, you have 13th and 14th data. So imagine if I go build a table that should look like a product ID, product name, and the 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016 as a column names. The data would be quite simpler, right? Instead of all these 4 rows, I would get only one row with values in multiple years, right? So that is what I am trying to build here. So I'll take the same exact example. I'll copy this string to SQL. Okay. So I'll go back here. I'll take in source assistant where I would choose an AdventureWorks database itself. Okay. Here I would like to write SQL statement. I'll paste my SQL command here. Okay. Columns. That's what I want. I would choose an pivot. Okay. Just a second. Let me. Okay. Here you have to see something. The value of the input data from this column will become the new column. So what we want as a new columns, we want year as a new columns, right? So that's going to be that one. So set key identifies a group of input that will provide a pivoted into new rows. The input must be sorted and sorted for this on this column. Okay, you can say product ID or name. You could use both or either of them. And the third thing is going to be your order quantity. The value is your order quantity, right? So that is what it is. So if you can go back and say, you have to know what exactly the columns, new columns is going to be. Okay. You have to mention it's not dynamic. You have to make it static. So I would say 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014. So that's what the years are, right? 11, 12, 13, 14. That's what I usually see. Okay, that's good enough. So if I generate the columns, okay, the columns would look like that. Okay, that's fine. As soon as I hit OK, and now I would say I would put a sort transformation here. Select data all according to this one. Say OK. I would go enable a data viewer. So the data is like this. So let's see the first row. Okay, just to have an idea. So as soon as we run this particular thing, let's see how data gets converted. You can see the data got converted as a product ID. Right. If I see 712, that's a product ID for cap logo cap. For 11, 544, 12, 2000, 13, 3000, 14, 1900, right? So I can see the same thing. For 12, 11, 5, 12th year it is 2000, 13th year is 3000, 14th year is 7. So that is what it is. You would write the row level data converted into a column level column information. Okay, so that's going to be that's how you would build it. Okay. Any questions here on this particular thing?
No.
No? Perfect. So, okay, quick things on this particular pivot transformation. Okay, what you need to know is from the GUI end, it looks quite similar, right? So, but one thing what we were missing is we didn't have a product name column here. From the source you had it, but you didn't really have an option to get the column name here. write product name, you only chose the product ID. Okay. If you want to add it, what you can do is you can go into an advanced editor. In the input columns, you could choose a name. Okay. And then come back onto input output columns. Okay. So you would have your name here. So in the outputs, you have to define a name column. So make sure your data types and everything matches. So here it is a DTW string. Okay. So I would go add up a name column. And this is going to be a data type. Where is the data type? Here. Okay. This is going to be a DTW string. Property is not valid. Why? Okay, let's do one more thing. You're not adding pivot key value, but you would need to add source or something like that. So map the column ID. If I can go get the map to column ID. So here it is, lineage ID is 20. If I go say this one is 20. There is one more thing you have to say. For the project ID sort key position. Pivot uses 1. Okay. If I go say this one as a pivot uses 1, and should have an option to but if I add it as an boolean, it won't work. Hold on. It's not mapped to any column output. This lineage ID is 90. Okay, if I go back and say this is 90 and say okay, still have this thing. Let's get on this thing. So pivot is map to column is 90. The output level. Okay, just see for this one. This one, okay. You don't have to have anything. So the product ID would have map source column. Okay, this is a property I have to set up. So source column is going to be 90. No, 20. Because this is what it would have at 20. Okay. Here it is 20. So if I go pivot key value, I'm not going to use any pivot key value, so that is good. So for the sort transformation, I have to add this one. Okay. And resolve references. I have to go back and delete unmapping or whatever I have to do. Once again, disable and enable. That should bring it back. So if I go run this particular thing again, now you should be able to see Okay, you can see the name because your data viewer doesn't have it. So let's go open it up, edit it, metadata, you have it, data viewer, you didn't have it, you have to add it. Now let's go and run it again. Okay, does it make better sense now?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no.
okay, previously you didn't have the name column, right? So you just had the ID and the values, right? Sometimes the data would be difficult to read with that kind of formatting and all. So if you have to do anything, say you want to add the standard column and all, you could use this advanced editor of an pivot column to do it, right? So you would go usually to the pivot transformation advanced. Okay. You would add, first of all, add the columns, whatever the extra columns you want to see, you would add them up here. Okay. Generally, it would be pretty much like in our own column saying static one, not the dynamic one. So probably the static one is the name one here. So you would see them available in the name column here, and you have to define it as an output. So you would click this one and say add column, which is going to be our name column. So name column, the source key column is what you have to mention. So that's going to be 20. Map the column, you need not here, okay, nor here. You don't really have to mention any map the column here, and there. You have something called source column. You have to configure its property to 20. That should do it. That should fix everything. So basically, in the real world, you will never sort it. You would just write it to the disk, or you would write it using an OLDB destination. My example was pretty much showing it in a data viewer and all, right? So that's how it was. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So once we got a grip of what is an pivot, we would like to see how does an unpivot would work. So basically, if you see the data when we pivoted, it was like a product ID, product name, and the respective years as a column names, you would have value, right? Now, if you want to convert that row level, the column level information into a row level information, we would do a similar task called unpivot. So let's say if I have to use the same example, I would say I'll go delete this links. Okay. Now I would like to unpivot the data. So for that, I have an option called unpivot. Okay, correct it here. So in for unpivot, you have this data. So you have two things here to configure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and the destination column is going to be order quantity. No. Pivot key value columns is going to be an order quantity. Whereas this column is going to be in year. So that's it. So let's put a sort transformation so that you can sort or see the data. I'll enable a data viewer here. You don't really have to have a data viewer. So you already know what the data would be looking like here until here, right? So let's go execute it, see it. What happened? product ID came clean. Okay, we reversed it. We made two mistakes. Okay, let me correct it out. Initially, I was right. This is going to be my order quantity, order quantity, order quantity, order quantity, and this is going to be my year. Okay, let's rerun this thing. So year is 2013, 14, 11. Order quantity is 176, but we are familiar with this information, right? So you could see in 2011 it was 500, 12 it's 2000 and all. So, or you can see from here 500, 2000, 3000, 1900. So same information. Now it got converted back into row level data, right? But your column names years has this extra information, order quantity and C underscore. You can trim it off. Basically, write an expression to trim it off. Okay, you can, yeah, that's you can work on it. Okay, either using a derived column or an expression or something like that, you could do it. Okay, any questions?
No.
So let's go back. Okay, one more data flow task. So we'll go back here. So let's drag table from the adventure box again. I would say this time I'll choose a different table. This is going to be product description table. So in here, I don't need row ID or modified data. I just need a product ID and description. Okay. So those are the two columns what I would like to choose. Basically here I am trying to show you an example of an term extract and term lookup. So what does both of them do? Okay. So using a term extract. Okay. In the if you go back and see the product description columns, you would have a description about the product. Let's say he is selling you pipe or anything. He'll describe what exactly is the pipe, how, what material they have used. If you see this one, they are trying to sell you bike frame. So they say it's a handcrafted one with the optimum diameter, with the wall thickness required to premium mountain frame, and then it is heated, enlarged, cubed, and absorbed bumps. Okay, those kind of description is what he has used. Okay, so now if we use a term extract, with the help of term extract, what you can actually do is you can either get the nouns or noun phrases out of those description. Let's say if you have a Twitter and you have lots of information stored in there, but you want to see how many nouns have been called up, how many times they've been called up and all. So you could use a term extract to extract that information. So I'll show you an example. So here I would say product description as a column, which has a specific column. I want the term and the score to be divided, nothing to be excluded. I just need nouns and noun phrases. Okay, that's minimum frequencies. It should at least be available for 2 times. That's only when I have to see it. And minimum length of a noun could be 12 characters. Okay. So let's go back and put a sort transformation so that we can see the data. I'll put it up here. I'll say this one. Okay, and I will enable a data viewer too. Okay, let's go back. Let's run this one. So out of all the existing data, these are the nouns. So bike, Barry, version, AAA, aluminum, these are the nouns, and these have happened 26 times out of all the columns. Noun, row, mountain, 100 has been called for 5 times. Tube has been called for 4 times. So that makes sense, right? So okay, that's how this is configured and got out the results. Okay, any questions? So yeah, pretty much like a noun and noun phrases being pulled out of an textual information. Okay, so if you want to use a term lookup, okay, we'll use a similar example. Okay, copy it, paste it back again. I'm going to use a similar example. So in this example, instead of term extract, okay, I should have written this into a table. Okay, what I can do is use an OLDB destination to write it back onto a table. Okay, new table. Extract. Okay, map. Rerun this again. Wrote successfully. Stopped it. Okay, go back. Now I have a source. Now I will use a lookup transformation. This is exact same as the lookup transformation we had earlier, but this is just a term lookup. So in this term lookup, do you have a reference table? Yes, I do. And that reference table is an extract. Okay. Out of this, what do you want to extract? I want to extract product description, product ID. I have to find out a description that matches that term. Okay. Before that, what I'm going to do is I will go back in here, go back onto the table levels. In the table, I don't need all the columns of the extract. I have 146, right? And delete anything which is greater than 8. Okay. Score greater than 8. Okay. Fuck. Okay. Score comma 7 greater than 1. Okay. Now if I see, I have 3 rows. Perfect. That's what I want. Okay. Now if I go turn lookup, basically I'm looking up for these columns from a lookup table. Okay. I have only 3 columns from the reference table now because after I deleted it and all. So Now I can use a sort transformation to show what exactly is the data look like after lookup and all. So basically, I'm going to select this out. Okay, that's it. Okay, enable a data viewer. Now, if I run this one, what should happen is it has to look up through the whole descriptions of an exact thing, and wherever you see the hall frame, it has to pull that information. Basically, you have 3 columns, right? So Lee, root, and HL frame. So that's the information it is pulling. It is extracting out of all the rows it had in there. Okay, does it make sense? Ramakrishna. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Hopefully it does. Okay. Yeah. We'll start the class here. We'll get back onto the other transformations tomorrow. Okay. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
So